Welcome to MwakInsights, your go-to source for deep geopolitical analysis and the stories behind global political events. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the 2024 Democratic National Convention and Barack Obama's critical role in it. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our deep dives into the world's most critical political moments. The air crackled with anticipation. The 2024 Democratic National Convention was more than just a political gathering. It was a spectacle, a carefully choreographed performance of unity and purpose. Barack Obama, the charismatic former president, was back. His presence loomed large, a specter of past glories, and a reminder of the party's enduring yearning for his brand of transformative leadership. Obama's return to the political fray was not without its critics. Some saw it as an unwelcome intrusion, a power play by a former president seeking to maintain his grip on the party. Others welcomed him with open arms, seeing in his return a beacon of hope in an increasingly uncertain political landscape. Regardless of one's perspective, one thing was clear: Obama's presence at the convention was a testament to his enduring influence and his unique ability to galvanize the Democratic base. As Obama took the stage, the crowd erupted in a deafening roar. His message was one of unity and hope, a call to action for a party at a crossroads. Beyond the glare of the spotlight, however, a different kind of power was being wielded. Away from the podium and the cheering crowds, in the hushed corridors and private suites of the convention center, Obama was playing a more subtle, yet no less significant role. Here, he was not the charismatic orator, but the seasoned strategist, the kingmaker whispering in the ears of the party faithful. He met with potential candidates, offering advice and counsel, assessing their strengths and weaknesses with a practiced eye. Some whispered of backroom deals and calculated power plays. Whatever the truth, there was no denying that Obama's presence cast a long shadow over the proceedings. The influence of big money on the political process is a tale as old as American democracy itself. The 2024 DNC was no exception. Behind the scenes, away from the cameras and the soaring rhetoric, lobbyists for some of the nation's most powerful corporations rubbed shoulders with delegates and party officials. Their goal was simple: to ensure that their interests were represented, their voices heard, their agendas advanced. The pharmaceutical industry, with its deep pockets and vested interest in maintaining the status quo of healthcare, was a major player. So too were the tech giants, eager to shape the regulatory landscape in their favor as they amassed ever greater power and influence. These corporate interests didn't need to resort to overt bribery or corruption. Their influence was woven into the very fabric of the convention, from the corporate sponsorships that funded the lavish events to the policy platforms that were carefully crafted to avoid alienating key donors. Kamala Harris, the sitting vice president and presumptive frontrunner for the Democratic nomination, was acutely aware of the complexities of navigating Obama's legacy. She had built her career as a tough-on-crime prosecutor, a record that sat uneasily with the progressive wing of the party that Obama had galvanized. Yet she also understood the enduring power of Obama's endorsement, the political capital it could bring to her campaign. Harris sought to position herself as the heir apparent, the natural successor to Obama's legacy, while also carving out her own distinct identity. She embraced his rhetoric of hope and change, while also emphasizing her own lived experience as a woman of color. Her success or failure in this balancing act would determine not only her own political future, but also the direction of the Democratic Party for years to come. Echoes of empire, Obama's foreign policy legacy, and the 2024 race. Obama's legacy on the world stage was a complex and often contradictory one. He came into office promising to end the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, to restore America's moral standing in the world, and to usher in a new era of diplomacy and engagement. While he achieved some notable successes, such as the Iran nuclear deal and the Paris Climate Accord, his presidency was also marked by the expansion of drone warfare and the escalation of the conflict in Syria. This mixed legacy cast a long shadow over the 2024 Democratic primary. The party was deeply divided on issues of foreign policy, with progressives calling for a more restrained, diplomacy-first approach, while centrists argued for a continued assertion of American leadership on the world stage. The question of how to navigate Obama's foreign policy legacy was just one of many challenges facing the Democratic Party as it sought to chart a course for the future. A house divided, the progressive-centrist fault line. The Democratic Party, a big tent of diverse ideologies and constituencies, had always been susceptible to internal fissures. However, the divide between the progressive and centrist wings seemed particularly stark in the lead-up to the 2024 convention. The progressive wing, energized by the rise of figures like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, demanded a more radical departure from the status quo. The centrists, on the other hand, urged caution and pragmatism, arguing that while these progressive goals were laudable, they were politically unrealistic and risked alienating moderate voters. This ideological rift played out in debates over everything from healthcare to climate change to foreign policy. The money trail. Following the flow of corporate influence. To truly understand the dynamics at play within the DNC, one had to follow the money. The lifeblood of any political campaign, money flowed freely through the veins of the Democratic Party, and with it came influence. Super PACs, those behemoths of political spending, played an outsized role, funneling millions of dollars from wealthy donors and corporations into the race. The pharmaceutical industry, eager to protect its profits and fend off calls for drug price controls, was a major player. So too were the tech giants, seeking to shape regulations in their favor and stave off antitrust scrutiny. This corporate influence wasn't always overt or nefarious, but the cumulative effect was undeniable. It gave corporations a disproportionate say in shaping the political agenda. The people versus the power. Grassroots activism and the battle for the soul of the Democratic Party. Amidst the high-stakes maneuvering and the relentless influence of moneyed interests, a different kind of energy was building within the Democratic Party. Across the country, a grassroots movement was gaining momentum, fueled by a deep-seated desire for change and a growing frustration with the status quo. These were not the party insiders or the well-connected donors. They were ordinary Americans from all walks of life who were fed up with a system that seemed rigged against them. They organized online, using social media to connect with like-minded individuals and mobilize support for their causes. They knocked on doors, phone-banked, and canvassed neighborhoods, determined to make their voices heard. This surge in grassroots activism presented both a challenge and an opportunity for the Democratic Party, reflecting a deep well of energy and enthusiasm that the party could tap into. 2024 and beyond, charting the future of the Democratic Party. As the 2024 Democratic National Convention drew to a close, a sense of both excitement and uncertainty hung in the air. The party had nominated its candidate, a standard-bearer, who would carry their hopes and aspirations into the general election. But the path forward was far from clear. The Democratic Party, for its part, was grappling with its own internal divisions. The party's ability to bridge this divide, to articulate a clear and compelling vision for the future that could unite its diverse constituencies, would be crucial to its success in the years to come. The Obama Enigma, a legacy in the balance. Barack Obama's shadow loomed large over the 2024 Democratic National Convention, even as he himself remained largely absent from the public eye. His legacy, a complex tapestry of hope and disappointment, of soaring rhetoric and pragmatic compromise, continued to be debated and dissected by both admirers and detractors. To some, he remained a transformative figure, the embodiment of a more inclusive and progressive America. To others, he was a symbol of missed opportunities, a leader who had failed to deliver on the full promise of his historic presidency. Whether his legacy would ultimately be one of progress or of unfulfilled potential remained to be seen. Conclusion. At the crossroads of hope and cynicism. The 2024 Democratic National Convention was more than just a political gathering. It was a microcosm of the challenges and contradictions facing America in the 21st century. It was a stage where hope and cynicism, idealism and pragmatism, the pursuit of power and the yearning for change, all collided in a messy and often exhilarating spectacle. As the delegates dispersed, the future of the Democratic Party, and indeed the future of American democracy, hung in the balance. The choices made in the months and years to come by both the party and the nation would determine whether the promise of a more just and equitable society would be realized, or whether the forces of division and cynicism would prevail. The path forward would be difficult, the challenges immense. But the journey, as always, would be defined by the choices made along the way. As we look ahead to the 2024 election, the future of the Democratic Party remains uncertain. Barack Obama's influence on the party is undeniable, but the growing divide between progressives and centrists threatens to tear the party apart. Can Kamala Harris bridge this divide and lead the Democrats to victory, or is the party destined for a fractious, uncertain future? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the dark side of the Democratic Party. If you found this analysis insightful, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Here at MwakInsights, we bring you the stories behind the headlines, giving you the depth and context that others miss. See you in the next video.